So just a really short video on showing how good the route planner is for charging abilities in the Tesla. So I've programmed in that I'm going to drive from my house in Kent all the way to the Dolomites in Italy, and basically it's scheduled in, as you can see in Folkestone. It wants to top up the battery when we get to the Channel Tunnel, then here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 charging stops. You don't have to utilize all those charging stops, and it does seem like a lot, but the reason why it does it will outline here. So we'd only have to stop for 9 minutes in Folkestone to get the battery where it needs to be, and then this one in France for 7 minutes, and then the next one for 24 minutes, then 16 minutes, then 18 minutes, and so on and so forth. And then when we got into Germany, 18, another stop in Germany, 18, and then one in Italy for 23. We wouldn't need as many stops either, but I would want to get to where we're going with 50%. And the reason for that is I don't want to just get to the destination and then have to go and scramble and find a charger. I already know where the nearest charger is, but I don't want to then detour 20 minutes away, charge. Do you get what I mean? I'd rather just crack on with the break. So if I get there with 50%, I know that I'd be able to drive around for a good couple of days, charge, ready for then like the return journey, if that makes sense. But again, if the sort of sat nav on here will work it out. So if I charge longer at Folkestone, or I charge longer than 7 minutes in St. Quentin, if that's how you say it, or if I charge longer than 24 minutes, and in this place, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but do you get what I mean? If you charge longer in those places, then the Tesla will just then work out what you need to do. So like it says here, fewer stops, best amenities. So you click on best amenities and it will take you somewhere where it's charging. You can have a bite to eat or whatever you want to do, but the whole point is it's trying to keep the journey flowing as much as possible, as you can see here. So if I click fewer stops, it's just worked it all out straight away. So we've got one there, Englos, in France. So it's not bothered with the one at the Channel Tunnel. But we're charging for 31 minutes, we're charging for 50 minutes, we're charging for 38 minutes. And as you'll see, it's only 1, 2, 3, it's only 4 stops now instead of 7 stops. So do you get what I mean? It's very, very good at doing that. Really good at doing that, actually. And this is saying here that it will take 16 hours and 37 minutes. But if I go fastest, it's going to take 15 hours with more stops, because the more frequent you stop, the more your battery is basically like prepped. The car can keep the battery pre-conditioned for fast charging, hence why you don't have to be there for very long. So the computer does do it very, very well. For me, I probably wouldn't want, so for example, 50% is absolutely getting there with 50% and then charging for 9 minutes is sound. I probably wouldn't want to get to these places with 10%. But then saying that again, there's nothing wrong with doing that, because the lower the battery is, the quicker the charge will be. So if you're getting to places with 50, 60%, it's going to take time to charge. Whereas if you get somewhere with 10, 15, 20%, the charging from a Tesla supercharger is rapid, if that makes sense. So just going into a bit more detail, I have mentioned this a few more times, and I said that I was going to give a bit more of a detailed overview of it. This is a trip that we're looking at doing either later on this year or early next year. And it just fills with confidence, because I've worked out the miles, and I've worked out this car's capability in terms of its miles, and I've worked out how much it would roughly cost in supercharging fees, and it would be approximately, because it depends when you charge, like the tariffs do change depending on when you charge, depending on what time of the day. It would cost anything from 30 to 40 pounds, which I think is phenomenally cheap. You know, and just really convenient. Like, we're not stopping at these places very long. We've got 3 children anyway, so by the time all the children have had a drink, have visited the restroom, we've been there 20 minutes, 30 minutes anyway. Do you get what I mean? What we might do, so instead of following the Tesla's advice, we might follow it up to a certain point, and then we might, you know, pick where some superchargers are, you know, with some nice scenery around, you know, stuff like that. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube, you know, they will pick specific Tesla superchargers throughout Europe that have actually got things to do there. You know, it might be within a really nice scenic town. So we might look at that, but I'm just showing you, you know what I mean, the Tesla's capabilities, you know, with its chargers. I know a lot of people are skeptical about getting an EV or an electric car because they're like, how will I know when to stop? And not all cars do this. You know, I've rented out EVs previously, and I've had EVs for work, and they don't have this capability. You have to meticulously plan your journey and have backups in case you get there and they're all taken. So, like, another thing, if you didn't know, if I click on the charger, yeah, capacity 16 stalls. Yeah, it's telling me how many stalls are available. And if I start the journey, it will actually tell me how many are free by the time I get there. Yeah, it works everything out concurrently. You can probably hear the car making quite a bit of noise because it's basically started this journey. Yeah, what it's trying to do is it's trying to make sure that the battery is preconditioned for optimum charging, which again is really, really good. So yeah, just a few little pointers on how clear that this can be, and it can be really, really clear. It can be really, really good. But yeah, any questions, let me know.